runner-up in both contests last year.
Sunderland 1, Arsenal 0, and Wimbledon 1, Derby 1. Nationwide League Division 1, Bradford 2, Oxford United 0, Grimsby 1, Port Vale 1, Ipswich, Sheffield United, panel result, home win. Manchester City 1, Crystal Palace 1, Oldham Huddersfield, panel result, home win. Portsmouth 0, Bolton 3, Queen's Park Rangers 3, Barnsley 1, Reading 2, Charlton 2, and Southend against Norwich, another panel result, away win. Division 2, Blackpool Luton, panel result, score draw. Bournemouth 1, Rotherham 1, Bristol City 2, Burnley 1, Bury Walsall, panel result, home win. Chesterfield 1, Bristol Rovers 0, Gillingham against Stockport, panel result, away win. Millwall 3, Preston 2, Plymouth 1, Crewe 0, Watford against Shrewsbury, panel result, score draw. Wrexham 3, Notts County 3. At Wycombe, the match was abandoned with the score Wycombe 2, Peterborough 0, and York 2, Brentford 4. Division 3, Barnet Scunthorpe, panel result, home win. Brighton Northampton, panel result, no score draw. Cambridge United Exeter, panel result, home win. Cardiff 1, Lincoln 3. Carlisle Torquay, panel result, home win. Chester 0, Hartlepool 0. Doncaster 0, Colchester 0. Fulham 6, Darlington 0. Hereford 0, Mansfield 1. Not on the pools, Hull 1, Swansea 1. And the matches Leyton Orient against Rochdale and Wigan against Scarborough were both postponed. Tennant Scottish Cup, second round, these matches not on the pools. East Stirling 4, Brora Rangers 3. Ross County against Montrose, match postponed. Spartans 0, Arbroath 0. And Stranraer against Inverness Caledonian Thistle was also postponed. And Whitehill 2, Queen of the South 3. Bell's Scottish League, Premier Division, Dunfermline 1, Dundee United 3. Hearts against Celtic as a late result. Kilmarnock 0, Wraith 1. And Motherwell 2, Hibernian 1. Scottish Division 1, Clydebank against St Mirren, panel result, away win. Dundee 2, Airdrie 1. Greenock Morton 2, East Fife 0. And Stirling 0, Falkirk 0. Scottish Division 2, Berwick 0, Dumbarton 3. Brechin against Hamilton, panel result, away win. And not on the pool, Stenhousemuir 1, Livingston 3. Scottish Division 3, Albion against Alloa, match postponed. And finally, Forfar 2, Queen's Park 2.
Thanks, Bob. So to the table, starting with the Premiership here in England. And Liverpool have extended their lead at the top to 3 points, despite a 0-0 draw with West Ham, because none of those challenging could win either. Arsenal in second place lost 0-1 to Sunderland. United, of course, play tomorrow. At the bottom, well, Middlesbrough are bottom tonight, having lost 1-0 at home to Southampton, who move up to 19th. Blackburn beat Coventry 4-0 to climb up to 14th position. A good second half of the season for them. In the First Division, Bolton have extended their lead now to 8 points with a 3-0 win over Portsmouth, mainly because Barnsley lost to Queen's Park Rangers 3-1 in second place. In Scotland, Rangers don't play Aberdeen until tomorrow. Celtic, they're still playing Hearts because of a delayed kick-off there. They were leading 2-1. And Dundee United in third place. They beat Dunfermline 3-1. Wraith got a win today at the bottom as well. And finally, onto the pools, starting with the half-time numbers. 7 score draws, 12, 16, 21, 24, 34, 41 and 44. 17 no-score draws at half-time, 4, 5, 8, 9, 11, 13, 14, 15, 20, 26, 32, 36, 37, 39, 40, 47 and 49. And to the full-time numbers, 9 score draws, 1, 9, 11, 13, 17, 19, 20, 27 and 28. 5 no-score draws, these are full-time numbers, 4, 32, 36, 37 and 47. The one result to come, that match in Scotland, number 41 on your coupon. No forecast. I don't think it looks terribly good. That's it. Carol will be back with the lottery numbers just after 8 o'clock.
I will both be back with our main news at 9:15. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Joining us now with the latest news and sport in the Northwest, here's Patrick Snell at the Albert Dock.
Hello and welcome. In a moment we'll be having a look at the football results involving Northwest teams, and we'll have highlights from our featured game, that's Manchester City against Crystal Palace. Goal action too from Tranmere and Stokes games last night, but first some news from around the region. The actress Jill Summers, who played battle axe Phyllis Pierce in Coronation Street, has died. Jill, who was 86, starred in more than 500 episodes of The Street. She'd been ill since September and died from kidney failure at a Manchester hospital in the early hours of today.
When you wed me, Percy, I'm proposing to you. It's leap year, love.
I suppose you think that's funny. Whose idea is this, yours or Maud Grimes?
Hey?
Hey, try and have a big laugh at me, make a fool of me. But you can have your fun with somebody else.
That's Jill Summers, who died earlier today. Other news now on the former husband of a Lancashire voluntary worker murdered whilst on the Paradise Island of Antigua. Today said the whole island was in mourning. 60-year-old Gabrielle Stocker, who used to teach in Fleetwood, was found dead on a tourist beach earlier this week. She'd chosen to retire there and had become a leading member of the island community through her voluntary teaching work. An ex-policeman is being questioned about the murder. Ram raiders have escaped with more than £1,000 worth of cigarettes from a city centre shop in the early hours of today. The shop in Manchester's Shambles Square was raided by 3 men wearing balaclavas. They used a stolen vehicle to force their way through the metal roller shutters. Birdwatchers from around the region have been gathering at the Dee Estuary on the Wirral this lunchtime. It was the highest tide of January, the month when there are the largest number of birds on the estuary. The RSPB invited the public along to see the spectacular sight as thousands of birds took flight. Football now, and onto the Premiership and the results from the Premiership. Blackburn Rovers 4, Coventry City 0. Great run for Rovers, that continues under Tony Parks. Liverpool, though, dropping home points against West Ham 0-0. Their home form leaving a lot to be desired at the moment. And Everton 2-1 losers this afternoon at Hillsborough against Sheffield Wednesday. That's 4 straight defeats in the Premiership for Everton. Now, a special report from Anfield, Graham Beecroft.
The Kop urged passion, Liverpool produced just passing. Another 2 points gone for a team which has lost the Championship plot, it seems. Mind you, the quality of the woodwork on the goalpost was tested in the first half. Liverpool struck it 3 times through Barnes, Fowler and Berger, while Reaper did the same at the other end. It took West Ham 26 minutes to mount their first threatening move, but nevertheless James had to make 2 excellent saves to keep the Hammers out. West Ham had more possession in a second half which produced precious little, but frustration for the home fans. McClusker was a spectator. James had to make 1 vital save. A first home clean sheet since August for Liverpool, but scant compensation for another lost opportunity. Liverpool 0, West Ham 0.
Graham Beecroft reporting. A look at the top of the Premiership. Liverpool stay top, but they'll be ruining those drop points. Arsenal lost at Sunderland. United play tomorrow at Tottenham. Into the Ensley First Division, and Port Vale with a 1-1 draw at Grimsby this afternoon. But the big story, Manchester City 1, Crystal Palace 1 at Main Road. Frank Clark's first home game in charge. Bolton Wanderers cementing their lead at the top, 3-0 winners at Portsmouth. As I say, Mr Clark's managerial reign begun with a home point this afternoon at Main Road. Here's Simon Day.
Frank Clark came out to greet the faithful and got a rapturous Main Road welcome just before kick-off for his first match in charge, taking on Dave Bassett's Palace, the South Londoner who turned City down way back in September. But it was to be Palace that provided the early signs of a goal, but thankfully Steve Lomas managed to head to safety. Mere seconds later, and a great run from Palace's Bruce Dyer gave City yet another scare. But the Blues came back with their first real chance of the first half, but Nicky Summerby's shot went drastically astray. Crystal Palace really ought to have gone ahead on 25 minutes when Dave Hopkins' pass to Bruce Dyer should have been tucked away